What's up, and welcome to yet another episode of the Camera Junkie live stream. My name's Luis, also known as Mr. Camera Junkie, where I remind you to upgrade your skills before your gear. And today is actually episode 169, so that's 169 consecutive episodes of the Camera Junkie live stream. And as always, I thank you for taking the time and hanging out here with me. Now, if it is your first time, please be sure to introduce yourself in the chat so that you can get the nice Camera Junkie crew welcome. And as the tradition goes around here, the first thing that we always do is check to see who are the first ones hanging out in the chat. So let's go ahead and find our mouse here. All right, we have Parker in the house saying hello to everyone. We also have Jeremy here saying, hey gang, live from the swamp tonight. Nice. And we also have Gretchen here saying happy Saturday evening to the MCJ crew. All right. Well, to kick things off, I'm going to be talking about this amazing program that allows me to put comments just like this on the screen. And today I'm actually dabbling around with the beta aspect. So every week that we do the live stream, I'm using Ecamm, but I'm using the standard version because it's rock solid. It's so reliable that it's just like hassle-free live streaming, which allows me to continue to make this broadcast week in and week out. But if you are part of the Ecamm fam and you have access to the program and you have an account, then you also have access to the Ecamm beta, which is all the things that we're testing out for the next version of this amazing program, and just to make it that much better. So there's always little things that are constantly being added, and the amazing writers of this program, Ken and Glenn, they're just next level in my opinion, because people are constantly sending them feature requests on the program, and a lot of times they knock them out so fast. But if you want to have a taste of what's to come in the next installment of Ecamm, then you would not hesitate to be part of the beta program. And the cool thing is that they can run side by side and not really bothered with each other, and run separately even though you're using the same profiles. So it works the same way, but to tell you the truth, it's usually pretty stable as well. No. Richard saying that Bob and her are watching tonight. That's cool. Hi, Bob. And we got John also hanging out saying, hey, yo. And Gretchen, I was just reading this, says, are you going to play with scenery? I've missed all that info on that. I actually have been messing around with scenery, but I wasn't planning on doing it tonight. If that's something that you guys are interested in, let me know, because I really don't have anything queued up as far as, videos to edit. But I do have some that I have there. I was just thinking about it just to make sure. I do have some there that I could sample, so to speak. But you guys let me know that if you guys are interested in going into scenery. What I was going to do was talk about overlays tonight. So I'll get into that in a little bit and see how it goes and how you guys feel. Okay, I was just putting down the music. I don't know if it was okay because it seemed that way, but then at the same time it also seemed high as far as the levels. It could even just be this song, but still, just double checking. Okay, let's go in here. No, that's not what I wanted. That's the wrong live demo mode. There we go. All right. So this is basically how I have this set up for the live stream. You can see here over onto my scenes window that I just have floating around here. I have A, B, C, and D. Now these are all my different camera scenes. They're basically the same exact overlay, but the way that I was explaining it to someone recently, and I wanted to convey it mostly for like Sly, who I believe has also been having some issues with this, is just understanding that there's a hierarchy within everything in Ecamm. So the same way that A is on top of B and is on top of C, if we were looking at them in the scenes on the overlays, they would literally stack up almost as if it were to be a scrapbook. So the same way that you used to build scrapbooks, you know, as a hobby back in the day, that you would throw the background, then you'd throw maybe the photograph that you wanted to, you know, like, I guess, you know, fab up or glam up, right? Then on top of that, you would add the corresponding trinkets that would, you know, like kind of tell the entirety of the story, whether it was a ribbon, you know, from a first place prize that someone received, or, you know, just a piece of cloth that resembles, you know, like a memory part of the photograph, and you start building all of those layers on top of it. Ecamm works just the same way. It's kind of the same way that Photoshop and all these other, you know, like creative application programs works in the same way. So it's basically like a hierarchy. So if you wanted to throw a lower third, right, like just mentioning my name, let's see, I believe I might have something here. Let's see, there we go. See? Okay, this lower third, as you can see, is basically on top of all of the other aspects of my overlays. So, well, let's not move things around except the window. So the overlay window here that I'm messing around with has everything, and I know that it's gonna explain it, but just to show that there is a lot of things. Oh, it's in there. That's just what I just clicked on, right? Oh, because I locked it again. Oh, there we go. We live and we learn. If you lock your scenes, which I'm so accustomed to doing, it kind of doesn't allow you to start messing around with the things in the scene. So, oh, it's actually up here. Boom, boom. Okay. But this is the same thing. I might just have a duplicate in this scene. Oh, it's a different one, but it's kind of the same thing. Ah, you see? I'm doubling up, so that's my bad. Okay, so the same way, look at this. This is basically even a better example of what I was going to show. So I basically built two of them and have them set up so that I can turn them on and off. But I have them that way so that, as you can see, they have different like movements, yet they're sitting in the same exact folder, right? Because they're linked and they're sitting in the same exact folder, allows me to turn them on and off at the same exact time. But let's say that we haven't even gotten to that extent, right, of separating them. You can create another lower third, right? But the hierarchy of how they are within this, you know, exact graph here within the overlays window, meaning that that would let you know which one would sit on top of which one. So let's turn this one on, right? And then I'm also going to turn on the one above it, right? The one above it is actually not specific to this scene like the one underneath it. So right now it looks like a hot mess, but I want to emphasize that if I were to take this one and then drop it underneath those, then as you can see, it kind of flipped the script, because now how they're sitting kind of in that same scrapbook formation, that one is on top of each other. So if I wanted to just remove all of these completely, right, kind of like hide them, I would take my camera A that's sitting behind all of them, kind of at the base level, right, and just literally throw them on top. And now, as you can see, the lower third, only the ones that's sitting in the folder is going to sit on top, because everything else kind of just disappeared, because it's actually still on, but it's just behind my camera overlay, because I just overlapped it in that aspect. So it's all about the hierarchy and how you set it up. And this is where it could get confusing, because when it comes to bringing like a comment onto the screen, like the last one. Oh, Gretchen says, I can wait on scenery. Well, as you can see, it's sitting on top of it. There's too much going on right now, so it's looking a hot mess that you can't even like understand what Gretchen is saying. So for this example, I would be turning off all of like the lower thirds behind it. I believe that's the other one there. Boop. Yep. So now those are off. And now you'd be able to see Gretchen's comment, because it's sitting on top of it, even though right now it's saying show in current scene, because that's the scene that I actually clicked it on. If it were to live on top here, right, within this widget, the other cameras, which like my cities got graphic, which I'll bring up right now just to show it also as an example. That city's got graphic, I have it set up to be on top of every other piece of, you know, like overlay and every camera, everything, so that it doesn't really matter which scene I'm in. I can switch cameras and the city's got is gonna persist to be on top of everything, right? It doesn't matter which scene I go to, City's God's gonna be there, because I literally have it set up as like on top of all camera feeds. So I'll just run right back through it, right, and then remove City's God, and then that just shows kind of a little bit more of a difference of how an overlay can be specific to the scene, how it could be specific to the entire show because you put it on top of all scenes, or better understanding the hierarchy of how each one of these layers sits on top of each other, and it literally works from like bottom up. So the things that's all the way to the back will sit there. So for example, that it says show in background, I have the video overlay that's playing in the background, the neon lights, as you can see, and that's running right here. And I have Aiden pulling at me. Yes, sir. Oh, let me. On a side note, Aiden's become a huge snacker. So, like, he's just pulling at me all the time to, you know, replenish his snacks. I got you, buddy. Taken a new liking to Pepperidge Farm's goldfish. Like goldfish all day right now, but that, beef jerky, some other snacks, like he's loving Cheez-Its and Cheerios and mixing in cereals, but he is snacking and eating all day, and I love it, but that's a whole different conversation. Okay, so where was I? Oh, I was trying to explain like the overlay background. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a brand new scene by hitting this plus symbol right here. So I'm going to try to accentuate my mouse cursor, but right there, that plus symbol, I'm going to click onto it and create a new scene. Now, the scene basically just took on camera A, and that's what you're seeing as this whole thing. So if I were to just remove the live demo mode, you're only seeing the camera feed right now in its entirety. But now going back to live demo, We got the new scene. The source is the camera, but I'm going to change it to blank because now that I've removed the camera feed from it, it's going straight to the background because the background is this visible video. If I were to turn that off, then it goes to black, which would normally be what you would be seeing if you would have it go to blank, right? And that would be a new scene with a blank background. But because of this understanding of the overlays, I've dropped this video feed in the spot that says show in background right here. And that becomes the furthest back, almost like if you were, on a computer, that's your desktop. And now you have a motion desktop sitting in the background, right, as your base layer. And that's what we're going to work on top of, right? I can easily grab this camera feed here and just drop it right on top. And now I have that feed. It's actually in vertical. Let's put it to 9/16. Okay. Right. And it goes right to camera A. And then using my mouse cursor, I can scroll it bigger and wider. Now, one of the cool features about beta, right, because this is just kind of like the standard functionality of Ecamm, one of the cool features of beta is that now it has a new perspective. So now you're able to kind of skew the visuals of it. And this is something that I displayed, I think the last time when this just came out, right? But I really like it because this is also kind of like Vision Pro-esque, so to speak, where you'd be able to take a conversation type or maybe like a podcast and kind of use this to that advantage. So let me go from wide to tall, right? Tall, I think I'm just a little too close for tall right now. So I'm gonna go square. Okay, that works, right? And I'm just gonna set up this scene here, right? And we got that skewed in perspective. So then I'm gonna option this and just grab it and duplicate that. That looks pretty cool, but we're gonna skew it to the other perspective. So that was like 47. There we go. And hypothetically, if we were two people, right, you could have them kind of like facing towards each other. Now, I think the better use case scenario is kind of a scene that I've already like used consistently, which is the one for Cities Gone. So you know what, let's kind of get into it. So right now what I would do, right, and you're not seeing this right now, this is for later, so let's not get ahead of ourselves, right? I can go to this scene here. Oh, and it's locked, so it's gonna give me issues. All right. My camera's locked as well. I moved it so that it could fit better, but it's not giving me this option. There we go. All right, so let's change the perspective a bit. Throw that a bit. All right. And now I think that's like, it's simple, but it just gives it that little bit of that je ne sais quoi. And this is just one of the many features that you're going to be able to add with Ecamm. So now the same way I could take this circle and perspective it the other way. Not too much, it gets wonky. It's looking like at 25%, and then boom. Now we got that set up and we got it locked in. I'm gonna leave that like that for now. I like it, but we'll talk about what we're not seeing on screen later. But that's one of the many things that you can do. Let's remove this. let's adjust this back to wide, clear out the perspective. And go back to adjusting the size. Let's get it. You see, this could be something else as well. Now, let's say that I wanted to add more space for the comments, right? What I also have the ability to do is actually hit shift on this window, and you see how the arrow changed, giving me the ability. Wait, shift should just do the bottom side, no? Oh, I'm wrong. I don't usually do it, but we learn together. Okay, so it's actually option. So hit option allows you to basically, like, as you can see, kind of like skew the window without changing the size of it, so it looks extra wide. Which you would say, why would you do that? Well, take some of my headroom off, right? And then this will probably be a perfect scene for comments. All right, like Kevin's in the house saying hello to all, and now it fits perfectly in that spot underneath me. Says reach over there and find and hit the like button. I appreciate that, John. But yes, if you haven't done so already, please hit the like button. It goes a long way. So Kevin says learning how this hierarchy works in digital apps and programs was a game changer for me. Yeah, and it kind of works the same exact way with, you know, like I said, like Photoshop. When you understand that, like, that's how they call the layers, right, within the Adobe products, then that becomes a lot easier. Also, as an editor, right, that's the same way that you basically create, you know, in post-production. Oh, here you go, buddy. So yeah, like in post-production, you're basically creating the same way. So like when I edit, you know, the podcast, the Flow podcast, it's just, it gets to the point where I know that the end product, I'm just going to set, you know, Katie and Doc up in the positions, you know, like where their eye lines are in the same height, where kind of like, believe it or not, like that their head size is like equivalent to each other, so it looks like that they're in the same location, so to speak, different things, so that it doesn't look too off-putting. And once that's set, I just start editing the video, and it's just like two floating squares. And once I'm done with the edit, I then take like the overlay that's gonna make it and beautify the entire thing, and just like cover up the entire scene, right, and just make it one long cover, and just make sure it's kind of like a wrapper on a candy, so to speak. I just make sure that the wrapper and how that sits on top of everything, make sure that everything underneath it is, you know, is where it's supposed to be, and everything looks good. Which is kind of how we started with overlays in Ecamm back in the day, right? We would actually just have the camera feed kind of like I had showed you. Let's see if we could replicate that, right? Just like this, right? And if you just had nothing else, then the same way that I was able to drag and drop the camera onto the motion background, the same thing that you would be able to do here, but in reverse. You would leave the camera feed as the background, and then you would have a, you know, like a graphic overlay with a cutout designed for your face, so to speak, and then you would throw that on top, and it just becomes like the wrapper. And that's the same thing that I still do with the edits on that side, but it all goes down and breaks down to understanding that hierarchy of how these things lay on top of each other and on each other, and then everything else ends up becoming a lot easier. At least it did for me. Excuse me. Because it's such a different way of thinking. Absolutely, Kevin, it is. Says, I like the idea of making a folder titled lower third, and it's a smart way to keep overlays organized. Yeah, but right now it's getting a little bit out of hand, but that's also, as you can see, like I don't really have a lot going on because I'm also making something else on the back end, which some of you guys might already know, but if not, I'll get into in a little bit. So Kevin's saying to Gretchen, yes, and also to be able to make templates for if and when you have guests is nice too. Yeah, that's how I have the flow set up a lot more for like the guest interaction. So I have a bunch of different scenes, but then that's what the scenes allow you to do, that they allow you to basically just customize each look to the feel that you want to take. Like I hadn't even thought about this, but this is like really good for the comments, because usually they're like cutting me off in the face, and now just creating something like this and allowing me to use more of the width of my camera is giving a perfect spot here for, you know, like for the comments. I have a new comment scene, right? And we're building it on the fly. Says growth spurt for Aiden. Cheese goldfish were faves of our daughters. Yeah, and I'm also using it, right, because I know that he likes them, to try to also expand his flavor profile, to try to get him to try other things. So for example, I'm getting this one that's like, it's cheese pizza flavored, right? Flavor blasted extra cheesy pizza, right? So I'm sneaking those in as well to try to get him a little bit more, but he's been just loving them. He just pokes at me all the time, and he now doesn't want to have his like regular meals just because he wants to be snacking the whole time, which is like, I know I said that I would give him as much as he wanted, but there still has to be a point where he has to have his nutrition and his, you know, his good stuff, so to speak, his protein. Because you said, oh, I've never made the connection between Ecamm overlays and Photoshop layers. That's brilliant. You may just have smashed Photoshop block. Thanks. Well, I'm glad that helps. But you see, it's the same thing. It's just there where the way that you're thinking about it. See, Kevin says there are tons of flavors and love the pretzel goldfish too. Yeah. But that's also what I'm doing. I'm just trying to see which ones he really has a liking to. This one he tore up. The cheesy pizza, the extra cheesy pizza, he absolutely loves. But yeah, so let me get out of live demo mode. There we go. And now we're just hanging out here. Let's see what else, because I'll tell you the truth, Ecamm is, I just use it for everything. So to give you an example, because I wish you really can't, and I wouldn't expect it to. So let me just say that before anything, but I wish that I would have been a little bit more thoughtful and prepared the scenes from the flow, because it would have been really cool just to show you guys the fact that there's a graphic that I was waiting to be made. Excuse me. And what I decided to do was build it in Ecamm. And before, like I had mentioned, you would kind of like build stuff outside of Ecamm so that you can throw them inside and to just enhance your overall like scene and everything. But you kind of don't have to anymore, right? Through Ecamm you're able to pretty much do anything. And you know what, we have plenty of time. I'm gonna throw a challenge to you guys. Is there a scene of a TV show or something that you're thinking that you would like to replicate? And I'll look it up and we'll do it on the fly right here. Because I am that confident in Ecamm that you'd be able to basically construct anything. And it's just understanding those layers and hierarchy, and I think that would be a great example of how all of these things work. So I'll be waiting for your comments, and I'd love to see if there's something that we can find so that we can just replicate right here on the fly. And while I wait for your comments, you know what, we are gonna get into this aspect. City's got, look at how it fits there perfectly down at the bottom. So yeah, City's got channels that I think you should go and watch. All right, and this week's City's got is Harv Video and Audio Stuff. Now if you haven't heard of this channel before, let me be the first one to introduce you to Harv. Now, he's got an accent, so you might like his content just because. But he's an audio and video nerd, just like myself, Tom Buck, so on and so forth. And as you can see, he dabbles in a variety of different aspects when it comes to content creation. When reviewing HoloLens Lark M2 wireless live microphones, you know, what is codecs, comparing microphones, you know, Viltrox 20mm f2.8 review and giveaway, you know, budget lenses. So if you haven't checked them out, let me be the first one to introduce you to Harv. I like his content. He's kind of like a straight shooter, and if you haven't checked him out, I would say give him a shot. You might like or learn a lot. As you can see, he's Final Cut Pro as well. Just, I've been watching a lot of his content for years now. So if you haven't, this week's City's Got channels that I think you should go and watch: Harv Video and Audio Stuff. He recently changed his name because he used to have his first and last name, and I'm like stumbling over it because that's how I subscribe to his channel. But nonetheless, he's branding himself exactly what he's all about. So Harv Video and Audio Stuff, this week's City's Got channels that I think you should go and watch. All right, so we're back to the main scene. Let's go. This is the comment scene. Geek's Life says, I've been using Ecamm for the last couple of weeks and it's come a very long way. It's kind of like Canva in a streaming software. Yeah, I would have to agree, sir. Says, one I see consistently asked is the pardon the interruption layout with the agenda style for timers with each topic. Ooh, let's go ahead and see what we can do. Well, let me just give you guys a heads up. Don't abbreviate when you Google that, because PTI comes out as something completely different. Okay. You know what? You know what I think we can do? You know what? Let's go ahead and do this. Oh no, I found something, yes, but I was just looking at it, and as soon as I saw it, right, something hit me, and I'm gonna search for it right now. But I'm also thinking like, oh, of all days for Paul to not be in the chat because, excuse me, I'm about to cough. There's something. Oh my god, I'm running such a brain fart. Kevin, you might be able to help me out. Doc is always using that link where like a moderator or someone that actually has the link has the ability to control what's on the screen and like change the weather and stuff like that, which is like a GIF, right? And I think that's, yes, overlays.uno. Yes, that's it. Let's check it out. Oh, I've never signed up. Okay, but anyways, let me show you what I'm thinking. Let's go to, okay, so overlays.uno has this setup right here. Okay, this is what I was thinking, because that's like almost there, right? So you see the today's stories and things like that. Yeah. Now you should be able to work it yourself, right? The overlays.uno, but you also have the ability to have like a producer, somebody else, a moderator work in the background to actually get this done for you. Yeah, because just like, even if you don't use all of it, right? Just the flying ticker, right? And things like that looks a lot like what we're seeing for Pardon the Interruption, right? Because I would say of overall, this is the theme that most people are talking about. Okay, let's not do that. Is my system audio? Okay, that's off. Okay, good. Okay, so yeah. See, this is kind of like the same thing that I would say now. As far as the timer, we could put that to repeat, right? Right from the overlays, Uno. See, just like that, so to speak. But have that set up. Where did it go? It's saying try it. Okay, I haven't signed up, but it looks like it's working. Oh, dope. That's pretty cool because I haven't even signed up, so I have to give them props that I was able to just come over here and without signing up still have a trial for this. So how would I apply that? I'm gonna need to learn this a little bit more. Because the one thing that's got me thinking that I would have to use this is the timing aspect. Because I know I could build the structure out in no time and I can get the look. But the control is where I would say that, you know, like to make it 100. But as far as the look of PTI goes, I can do that in a heartbeat. Cool. Aiden's also getting bigger that when he pulls on me, he's like really pulling on me. He's like tugging hard. It's getting heavy. All right, so let's see. What are we doing here? We're gonna get out of this scene. Okay, we got a new scene here. We also have a new scene here. So the newer scene. Okay. All right. Gonna go back to just this screen. Okay. Let's see. And you know what? I'm gonna take a photo of this. All janky. Okay, that did not go as I planned. All right, so what are my screenshots? There are my screenshots. Should be able to just drop that there. Perfect. Okay, so that you guys can see what I'm seeing, so to speak, and just sit in Michael Wilbaum and oh, I forgot his name. Oh, it's been so long I haven't watched. Pardon the interruption. All right, let me bring that down here. Okay, so we're gonna try to replicate this look real quick. Okay, and you know what, I'm gonna go back into live demo mode so that you could at least see me like on the side here, because I'm gonna go, you know, like all in. So right off the bat, I'm going to add a shape, and this could be the background, right? However you want to look at it, but I'm gonna put the screenshot on top of it. I'm gonna adjust this. I'm gonna take this and let's see. I should be able to. Oh, what happened to the color? Get the little. Get that color there. Boom. So now we got the appropriate color. We're going to take the corner radius out and we're going to embiggen that so that it takes the full screen. So now we have the appropriate color. We can add, excuse me, camera A, but we're going to make it tall, right? In this case, you know what? We're going to make it custom. Just to widen it out a bit. Then we'll take this and we'll hit Option Drag. We'll grab another one. We're just going to change this to camera C, is it? Let's do B. There we go, just for some change. So once again, I'm going to throw this screenshot on top. Okay, so I need more on the top end here. But hey, we just confirmed this. We're going to hit Option and we're going to cut down into this to make these super custom images. Okay. go. So now we can take this and we're gonna add a text caps that says headlines. Then, oh my goodness. Well, I'm not gonna fix this now. No, sir. Maybe when I'm done with the live stream, but not right now. That requires batteries. Okay. So headlines. I'm gonna try to. Let me see this here. Not this. Extra bold. That looks about right. Okay, so now I'm gonna drag that there. Actually, I'm gonna like kind of take that so that we can get that out of the way, so that you can have a clearer clearer view. Now, not everyone knows that. That's something that, to show you, is probably like one of my favorite features of the Stream Deck, that it has that button right there that just removes that and just gives you that clean, you know, workspace for when you're building these things out, so that you can see exactly where you're putting, you know, your text, your lower thirds, different things like that. So okay, so right there we have that. All right, so we can just add another shape. No, that was, yeah. We're gonna change this color to that orange, right? It's actually a gradient, fades off to the end. Let me see. So we can make it a gradient to black. Push it off to the side. But that just looks way too much to the... You know what I'm gonna do? Okay, this is what I'm gonna do in this case. It's just like another aspect of layering things on top of each other, right? I don't, as you can see, the fade is very, very small, but the fade that happens from this corner section here, better, right? Let me just show you exactly what I'm thinking. Okay, if I were to take this and truncate, now the fade looks a lot more towards like the liking, so to speak. So I'm gonna drop this right over here, right, as the first point. Then I'm gonna option drag and then finish off here with that same point. And I'm going to grab another one just like this, and this one right here, this guy, I'm gonna make a solid color again. I'm gonna slide you there and then drag you to over here and see. Oh, let's see how that looks. I'm not too happy with the fade here. Well, that looks better. Okay, definitely. I could work with that. Okay, it kind of just drug it a little bit, as you can see. I don't know exactly how it looks to you, but that looks good to me. We're gonna option drag this guy over here. right? And we're going to change that. What are we looking at? Let's write it verbatim. They're all caps. Yep. Okay. Did I spell that correct? Line hand. Yep. Okay. Now we hit OK. Take this, shrinkify it. Add another text here. I don't know which webling it is that I'm looking for, so I'm typing all of them to see if I get lucky. I'm looking for that hand, even though I could probably find something in Canva. Let's see if I get lucky. No, I don't see anything. So, you know what? I think I'm going to save us a little time and I'm going to go straight to Canva. All right. So I'm going to leave this scene. I'm going to rename it PTI. So we'll just leave that there. Okay. I'm not going to put that logo there, but I can tell you that could easily be found as well on the interwebs. Yeah, because that also seems like a gradient, like a red to black. And that one also looks like, that one looks pretty cool. Okay. Let's see exactly where we're at. So you guys are seeing what I'm doing here. We're looking for an element. Actually, you know what? Let's go back here and we're just gonna make this gray just to have a little bit of contrast, because the element that I'm looking for, finger pointing. Let's see what we find there. Oh, misspelled pointing. Really? Okay, pointing finger. We're getting very close. Let's see all. That looks good. Pro. Boop. We're gonna change the color to white. But at the same time, we're going to download this as a PNG with the transparent background. So we're just going to download that. That should take no time to have downloaded. Okay. Are you guys not seeing Canva? Yeah, you guys. I'm not even sure right now. Okay, let's turn on the live demo. Let's do this. Let's bring that over here. Now I feel more assured that you were actually seeing. Anyways, this is what I downloaded. I think you guys saw that, but I digress. All right, let's go back to this scene. Okay. Now that I have this file, I'm going to go ahead and drop that right there. Boop. There we go. And we'll go. Oh, nope. That was not what I wanted to do. What's going on? Lock these guys. That's so weird. I'm blocking everything right now. Okay. That's so freaking weird. There we go. Wow. Just to get that graphic. Just to get that graphic. That's the OCD in me. Okay, and we continue. And I'm just gonna do one last thing here because we just got into the hour. All right. We're going to, once again, we're gonna change this to a gradient. This is where it should be in live demo mode. Gradient. There we go. Black. It's again the way that I saw the photo. Let me bring that back up. Net opacity. Oh, it was. I'll drag it like such. Like here. That right back to the top. Okay. So the only thing was a black bar, which is going to be the rolling sticker. And that, if you guys don't know, just gonna go ahead and add text, right? And right here, style dynamic, scrolling ticker, boom. Now that becomes a box. If you want to add, no, the text color is fine. Edit background. You want a color. We don't want to make that black. Corner radius, we don't need any. No border. We hit add, that becomes a scrolling ticker. So that goes right at the bottom. I can then add another thing here where that would be the Guinness, right, logo. I would add the ESPN and then that text information. And the final thing that I would do, in all sincerity, from this is I would add the uno.text, because that will allow me to easily like change the color from like a solid to the back, right? And that way you'd be able to, you know, have them like flip over once you've covered that subject, and you could do it at your own leisure. Now, Pardon the Interruption has a clock timer, but if you don't have a timer yourself, right, you can just take your time with each question and then just click one off one after another, you know. And if you wanted to, you can do it in Ecamm the way that I would do it, for instance. And I think I'll close with this, right? If I wanted to make a ticker, I would literally be using a lot of scenes, but I can get it done depending on how many subjects. Now, pardon the interruption here. As you can see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different subjects, which is a lot to cover, right? But usually in something like this, depending on a half an hour or an hour set, exactly what you're being used, you could have, you know, difference between 3 to 5, maybe even 7 different questions or subjects that you want to cover, right? Never know, maybe something that I need to start implementing myself, just so that I can have those subjects that I'm like, oh, I forgot to talk about that, or I forgot to mention it, if I put it in a written format. But I digress. Let's go ahead. I'm just gonna click this off and I'm gonna show you how I would do the subjects, and I would do them kind of in the same rectangle form, right? So I'm gonna add another one. Actually, what color was it? It was kind of like orange. Okay, but I'm going to get rid of the gradients. I'm gonna go to a single color. Gonna go here. That was a little bit more too orange. That seems very similar, but once again, I'll go back to it. We'll do the dropper. Oh, I'm covering it. There we go. Boom. Close that out. All right, let's say that's the first one. I would get really meticulous and space them exactly, but we're doing this on the fly. Oh, it's gonna drive me crazy though. Okay, all right. So now that we have that, I would take text. They don't want the background in this one. Okay, we just want the text so that hypothetically the text would be there. Why is it clipping to the top? Get it in the center. Okay. Option. Right? Okay. So now to break that down, we have the text on the screen, right? So what I would do is that I would actually have it set up like this, where they are all, you know, let me just finish it up so that it makes total sense, right? We have the text over each little column. Each one is going to be each individual subject, right? So this is going to be the main scene. And once we want to go on to the next subject, I will then go right here to the scenes and I will duplicate this scene, right? And now this duplicate scene would be, you know, I'll call it question 2, right? Because the first one would be question 1. Just gonna name it as well, Q1, right? Boom, right? So question 2, I would automatically go in here and then go into this aspect. Hey, did I click the right one? No, I think I clicked text. And go to the color. And change the opacity. Maybe to 60. Boom. As a subject that we've already covered. Really? Come on. Just trying to scoot you back. So that when you go from one scene to the other, you can see it just looks like it was taken off. So you could continue, and then, you know, from right here, from this scene, you would then once again just duplicate it. And like I said, it'll be a lot of scenes, but you call it question 3, right? And now that you've highlighted, you do the same thing. So question 3, you would then go into this with the color and then bring the opacity down to 60 and match it. Boom. And now you got your second one that's already just been dimmed, and you can just continue to go down the line. So as you just continue from one scene to the next, you go question 1 highlighted, you got the scrolling ticker. If you want, you can still put a timer that does nothing once it gets there, right? But or you could actually have it go to the next scene, right? So if you want to put a timer, you can set it up to each one be a minute, but I think you would want more control over that. So you just set it, have the timer go. Once it's going, then you go to the next scene. That one is already taken care of, and so on and so forth. Boom. And you continue, and then you go through all your scenes. So that's one way of doing it. But if you want to give somebody else a little bit more control, I see Doc here telling me to go to bed. I'm gonna be going to bed right now, actually not, so to speak. So there's things that I'm going to be doing as soon as I'm done here. But look, Doc is saying you can copy and paste settings in the dimmed style and then save a bit more time. That's actually true, right? And then just drag that down as well, because that would be the color that you want. So it's the same exact thing, right? Instead of going to each one, that actually does make sense to copy and paste the blocks that are dimmed just the same way. But that's the way that you could just build it. And that's what I said, like there's so many ways that you can get the same exact thing done, right, over and over again. And now I got my new scene for comments like that, so that it doesn't cut it off. So said it was so good, proud of you. Thank you, sir. And that says a lot coming from you, sir. But that is it. I'm gonna get out of live demo mode and we're all done with it, guys. We did it. We did it. That's episode 169. That is 169 consecutive weeks of the Camera Junkie live stream without skipping a beat. And I gotta thank you all for taking the time and hanging out here with me, as always, making this the place where I always want to be. Now, if you haven't gotten the drift, it's been over 3 years without skipping every Saturday night. So you could just mark it on your calendar and you can hang out with us here next week, same time, same place, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every Saturday night, live from the Camera Junkie YouTube channel. Now, everyone, take care of yourselves and each other. Have an amazing week, and I can't wait to see all of your smiling faces as we do it all over again next week. Talk to you.